Today I'm going to share how you can master the art of positive thinking by embracing your inner Pollyanna. I'm going to tell you all about it in today's video. Hello everyone, Jennifer L. Scott here, and welcome back to the Daily Connoisseur. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to be a positive thinker. This is a major behind the scenes aspect of my life. I am kind of known for being a positive thinker in my family, and I have a lot to say on the subject. If you are new to my channel, I am a mother of 4 children. I'm also an author, and I run this YouTube channel. So my parents and I have an inside joke. They love to call me Pollyanna. And my dad did pass away last year, but he always called me Pollyanna. My mom and sister still call me Pollyanna. Now, when I was a child, I was obsessed with the Hayley Mills film. It was, I think, filmed in the 60s, and I had it recorded on VHS tape, and I watched it over and over and over again. And Pollyanna is based on a book written in 1913 by Eleanor H. Porter, and it is about an orphan with eternal optimism. It's actually kind of a similar plot line to Anne of Green Gables. I liked both. What I love about both those characters, Anne and Pollyanna, is their optimism in the face of what seems like disaster. So I've always been like this as well, and it's something that I think everyone can benefit from. I'm going to share 2 quotes from Pollyanna with you so you can kind of get an idea of what the character is like. But one of the quotes says, "If God took the trouble to tell us 800 times to be glad and rejoice, he must want us to do it some." So there Pollyanna is referring to the fact that apparently it says 800 times in the Bible that we should be glad and rejoice, okay? So she was saying that's a lot and we should pay attention to it. And then the other quote from Pollyanna that I love is this one. It says, "There is something about everything to be glad about if you keep hunting long enough to find it." So I fully subscribe to both of those. And, you know, sometimes Pollyanna, in fact, oftentimes, Pollyanna can have a negative connotation. So sometimes it'll be used as an insult to imply that somebody is naive or out of touch or, you know, in La La Land, just like delusional. And I do have to admit that being delusional is a little bit a part of the secret behind this. We'll talk about that in a minute. But as far as I'm concerned, being a Pollyanna is, shocker, a positive thing. So whenever they call me Pollyanna, I don't take it as an insult. I take it as a high compliment. So in my notebook here, I have written down 5 different aspects of being a Pollyanna and thinking positively. So the first tip that I wrote down here on how to be a Pollyanna is to think in terms of affirmations and not negations. Okay, so I have a story for you. With my first child, we were at the garden center in Santa Monica. And as we were walking out of the garden center, I had purchased a watering can. And as we were walking, I was kind of like carrying some bags, some plants, and the watering can. And my little toddler at the time, she kept kicking the can, and it was like about to fall out of my hands. So I kept saying to her, "Don't kick the can, don't kick the can." And this lady came up to me out of nowhere and she said, "Honey, all she can hear is kick the can." She said, "Don't tell your child don't do something." She said, "Tell her what she can do." And then she just left. It was like she was an angel out of nowhere, kind of like a negative angel. And she just told me that and then she peaced out. I remember being so annoyed with this woman, right? Because I was a new mother. I'm just trying to enjoy myself with my daughter at the garden center, and this woman is like correcting my parenting, okay? But I have to give it to her because her words stuck, and I thought about that so many times over the years. So the way that you can apply this to your own life is to not focus on what you can't do, but to focus on what you can. So I get a lot of comments from new mothers who are overwhelmed, and they're overwhelmed with the state of their house. They're too exhausted to clean it and get it in order. And so instead of focusing on the fact that the house is a mess and in disarray, A Pollyanna idea is to focus on what you can do and what you can enjoy. So yes, your house might be a chaotic scene, but you can focus on the fact that your bedroom looks great. You know, because you're just passing through a phase and it's not always going to be like that. And so to focus on the fact that maybe one corner in the house looks like you want it to is enough for that moment in time. The second way to think positively and be a Pollyanna is to be selectively delusional. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So in the negative context, people say that a Pollyanna is delusional, but I actually think that there's some good in being delusional. I researched a few quotes on optimism. This one from Norman Cousins speaks to this delusional quality. It says, "Optimism doesn't wait on facts. It deals with prospects. Pessimism is a waste of time." Some people might think something is a fact, and then they dwell on it and they get pessimistic about it. But optimists do not necessarily dwell on so-called facts. Many of you know my publishing story, but in case you don't, I wrote a book called Lessons from Madame Chic, and I wrote this back in 2011. And long story short, I could not get representation for my book. I sent this book out to so many literary agents. It was constantly rejected. I was usually ignored, but the few that got back to me told me that no one would read my book, no one would be interested. It was too similar to other books on the market. Now, every time I got a rejection for my book, my Pollyanna superhero mode kicked in, the delusional part of it, and I just said to myself, they don't know what they're talking about. And I didn't dwell on it. I didn't get upset. I didn't get offended. I simply thanked them and I moved on. I went on to self-publish my book and it did really well. Simon & Schuster picked it up. 2 more books came in the series. I became a New York Times best-selling author, and the series has sold over 2 million copies worldwide. So we went from being completely rejected, nobody wants your book, the so-called facts, right? To me being delusional enough to not listen to the facts, just say they don't know what they're talking about, on to success and what I wanted, which was for people to read my book and to be inspired by my book. So a Pollyanna has a level of delusion that works for them. So if you're trying to do something and somebody is being negative, they're shutting you down, you're reaching, closed doors everywhere you look, I don't want you to give up on your dream. I want you to be a little delusional in ignoring the facts, because really they are not facts. Those were opinions, right? Opinions from these people who did not have the vision to see my book the way that I saw it. So you maintain your vision and don't worry about the so-called facts. Tip number 3 on how to think positively and be a Pollyanna is to realize that everything is happening for you, not to you. Okay, so I truly believe that even the most horrible things that have happened in my life, that I'm able to at least extract something good from them. So there's that quote from Pollyanna where she says, "There is something about everything to be glad about if you keep hunting long enough to find it." So all of the bad, so-called negative things that have happened in my life, I am able to look back at them and realize why they happened. There was always a silver lining, or it led me down a certain path. And I'm sure that you have this too. If you look back at your life, let's say somebody broke up with you and you were devastated, or a friend ended your friendship, or you didn't get a job, or somebody said no to you, or you were fired, or whatever it was, I'm sure you can look back at it and think, oh, wow, if that didn't happen, then XYZ wouldn't have happened. I truly believe that all things can work out for good, and I just have that optimistic belief. One of my favorite scriptures is Romans 8:28, and it says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose." And that is part of the optimistic attitude. So even when something really bad is happening, you can realize that it will turn into something good. And I think the next level of this is to immediately go there for me, and I immediately ask God, okay, why is this happening? What do I need to know about this situation? There is an affirmation from Florence Scovel Shinn, who is an author that I like, and she says, "Every man is a link in my golden chain of good." So if you have someone in your life that's just like bothering you, or you think, why is this person in my life? Well, you can look at it like this person is a link, or was it a chain? Yes, this person is a link in my golden chain of good. And something good is going to come out of it. And that is one way to look at the situation. The fourth tip to thinking positively and being a Pollyanna is to never allow someone to predict doom for you. Here's a few examples of what I'm talking about. Someone might say to you, "Oh, just wait until you turn 40. You're going to lose your eyesight." Or just wait until your kids are teenagers. They're going to hate you. How many times have you heard that? Or, just anything. People love to say, "Oh, just wait till this happens." And then they predict doom for you. The way I respond to this is usually silent. And I don't ever agree with them. Like, I would never say, "Oh, yes, my kids are going to hate me when they become..." Why would I ever agree to that? So instead, I just say something like, "Oh, really?" But internally, I say that does not apply to me. So I never allow these thoughts to permeate my optimism. So I really recommend the same thing. Just block it. It's like the literary agents that were rejecting me and saying that my book would never sell. That did not apply to me. And guess what? It did not apply. A tip to go further with this is, let's say someone says to you that your kids are going to hate you when they become teenagers. So internally, you could think that does not apply to me, and you can affirm, "My kids love me. My kids will always love me." So you can affirm this within yourself, and that makes it even stronger. It's like putting up a shield against negativity. Okay, the final tip to being a Pollyanna and thinking positively is to use affirmations. I do recommend that you use affirmations, especially if you struggle with being positive. Usually the reason behind your negativity is that these negative thought patterns are ingrained. And Charlotte Mason, who is the British educator that I love her philosophy on education, she says that habits are like laying down rails. Okay, so she says, if you have a bad habit, it's like laying down rails, and the train just goes where the rails are, right? But you can lay down new rails and change your habits. Well, the same thing goes for your thoughts. So if you're in the habit of waking up and dreading the day, okay, and thinking, oh no, it's Monday. What do I have to do today? It's going to be horrible. Like, if you just spiral immediately as soon as you wake up, you have to change the way that you think. So you can give yourself an affirmation and write it by your bed and think that every day, and you can change the way that you think. So you can wake up and let's say your affirmation is, "This is going to be the best day ever." Or "Wonderful surprises are coming to me today." Whatever affirmation resonates with you, that's the one that you should use. And you can write it down, post it on your mirror, post it by your bed, and change the way that you think. I just want to repeat Pollyanna's quote. And she says, "If God took trouble to tell us 800 times to be glad and rejoice, he must want us to do it." So this is reinforcing that. This is being glad. This is rejoicing by training your mind to think positively. And when you do this, your life completely changes. It really does. I have so much more that I could say on this subject. So if you would like to see part 2 for Pollyanna, please give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section down below. I would like to take a minute to tell you about the Chic Society private membership here on YouTube, and I invite you to join us there. The membership is only $1.99 a month. I do a special members only video every Friday, and we also go live together once a month on a Zoom call. There's an optional pen pal program, and there are also upper tiers as well, and that's who you're seeing right now. And these wonderful people get a mention in a video once a month. I usually do it in my Seek Out the Arts videos, which will resume in September. And now I'm going to share the Elegant Connoisseurs with you. They are our top tier members.
The 90-day memoir workshop
beginning September 16th from the LA Writers Lab. Ann King, Certified Relationship Coach. Beverly Alexander Martin, author of Destiny Deems. Jenny Williams from Carrot Top Paper Shop. Elaine Brisebois, Certified Nutritionist and Women's Weight Loss Coach. Guy Blaise, author of Love Like the French, A Guide to Better Romance and Relationships. Dr. Kate Philbin, transpersonal psychologist and professionally certified life and executive coach. Carrie Van Hooser, author of 'Tis the Season for Poetry. Macondo Forever, Woven Placemats. Teresa Maples from Self-Care Routine Cards. Alan Scottish Shortbread. Sturm Brothers Custom Design and Fine Jewelry. And thank you to the following: Catherine Ray, Anne-Marie Ramsey, Ashley Diaz, Heather Barrera, Jenny Candelaria, Jet Raleigh Heron, Gina K. Henry, Juliette Keeler-Lebien, Linda Eckloff, Maria Condor, and Tina Hugal. Thank you so much to the Chic Society. If you're interested in joining, I will leave the link down below. I also have another announcement. I have an LTK store. So if you love my 10-item wardrobe content and you want to see more outfits of the day, beauty recommendations, book recommendations, all that sort of thing, I highly recommend you follow me on LTK. I will leave that link down below as well. I would love to know your experience with optimism. Do you consider yourself an optimist or a pessimist? I would love to know down below. Are you a Pollyanna like me? Let us know your story. I love to read your comments. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Keep calm and remain classy, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Thank you.